Brothers and sisters, جميعا سلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. وآله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. فقد قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اتل ما أوحي إليك من الكتاب وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Recite what has been revealed to you of the book and maintain the prayer. Indeed, the prayer restrains from indecent and wrongful conduct, and the remembrance of Allah is surely greater, and Allah knows whatever deeds you do. Recite a second salawat. Recite a third salawat for the safety of our homes, inshallah. For the previous nights, we've been trying to discuss the topic of understanding the logic behind the movement of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And I have to underline trying because when we talk about the infallible Imam, when we talk about Ma'asum, it's very difficult to actually get to a point that they are looking to work from that stage. So as I said, we just try to get closer as much as we can. We talked about the connections between the actions and the thoughts and feelings and goals and objectives of each person. And then we mentioned that for us, we lived about 1400 years, 1300 years after the time of the tragedy of Karbala. So how can we actually get, to know our Imam Hussein a little bit more? So we mentioned that we have to go back to all the words that we have left from about the Imam Hussein. So for the previous nights, we've been discussing a lot of sermons that he has been delivering, from the beginning of his movement till the last night, the night of Tasu'a in Karbala. Now tonight, I'm just going to do a little off track. I'm going to talk about one of the things that he mentions as something that he has high value for it. He's passionate about it. He says, I love to do this act. If you guys remember, we discussed this briefly, and I promised to actually spend one night to discuss this one further. On the night of Tasu'a, when the army of Umar Ahsan starts the attack for the first time, Imam Hussein alayhi sends Abu Qasim Abbas and other companions to go and see what's the deal, why are they attacking us so out of the blue. So they go and talk, and they give the new orders. They tell Imam Hussein that they say you either pay your allegiance or you get ready to fight with us. So Imam Hussein tells them to go. He tells Abbas to go and ask them for this night off. Give us one more night. Because I like to spend this night praying, I like to spend this night doing du'as, doing istighfar, doing repentance. And then he says this famous quote that, Inni uhibbu salat, meaning that I care for salat. I like salat. I actually love this act of salat. So, inshallah, we try to get a little bit more insight about what does salat mean within the teachings of Islam, and how is it that salat is actually prevents us from conducting bad evil behavior. Based on the ayah that I actually recited, which is the 45th ayah of Surah Al-Ankabut, the 29th Surah of the Quran, Allah Almighty tells us specifically that وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ, if you maintain your prayer, if you do your prayer in time, right? If you continue your prayer, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ. This salat, right? This prayer will actually prevent you from doing any sort of evil act or committing any sins or making mistakes. Now, how is that possible? right? We say number one, it actually resides within the meanings of what you actually recite during the salah. If you want to answer for this question, that how salah actually prevents us from conducting evil acts, you say take a look at what you recite 5 times a day. Say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, right? Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The first 2 ayahs that you mentioned, it's all about remembering your God. Meaning that just by reciting these first 2 ayahs, you're just telling yourself that, hey, I'm not alone here, right? I'm not here all by myself. It's not that I have, I can do whatever I want without any questioning, without anybody looking over me. Then you continue to say Malik Yawmiddin, right? Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Whenever you say Malik Yawmiddin, you're reminding yourself of the day of resurrection, the day of Qiyamah. The day that everybody will get resurrected, everybody will, stand or take a stand to actually be responsible for all the actions that they have done at the court of, divine law. Then you say, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Meaning that we'll ask Allah Almighty for His support, for His help. Because we, by ourselves, if you look at ourselves only, we are not capable of doing a lot of stuff if we are left by ourselves. So that's why we continue to ask Allah for that. Just to give you an example, we have this very, we call an experienced enemy named Shaitan, Satan, right? Now think about it. Number one, you don't see him, right? He's one of the jinn. Number two, how many years of experience does he have doing what he is best at, right? So what we know, he's been worshiping Allah Almighty way before even the Prophet Adam was created, right? Based on the teachings of the Quran. He goes way back. Based on some of the hadiths, he tells us that he was actually worshiping Allah for 6,000 years before actually Adam was created, right? So 6,000 years, let's say, before Adam, Prophet Adam. And then from his time to now, how many years is that? I don't know. Add all those up, right? That's the amount of experience that this enemy of us, this sworn enemy of us, has. And then what do we have to actually fight it, right? How many years of experience, how many years of knowledge do we have? How many different tricks do we know, right? So we can actually prevent the Satan of getting to us, of actually tricking us to doing something wrong or something like evil. MashaAllah, you can do the math, right? You can come up with the probability. Then we continue and then we say, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, right? We'll ask Allah Almighty to guide us on the right path. What is this Sirat al-Mustaqim that we continue to talk about? Sirat al-Mustaqim is the most, I would say, it has like different characteristics. Imagine 2 dots or 2 places. You can draw so many different lines between the 2 places, right? But if you want to draw the shortest one, right, it will be only one line which will be directed from the first one to the second one. And that's what we mean by the meaning of Sirat al-Mustaqim. Meaning is that, that path, that road, that way that actually gets you to where you want to be, to where you belong to be, to where you deserve to be, in the shortest amount of time, with the least amount of expenses. We talked about this also before, I think, that we say we have this limited one-time use, as you call it, like capital. We like to call it capital. Some people say no, it's not a capital, but we call it capital. So one-time use, limited capital, name, life, right? And then we don't know how much it is. And that's that will make actually even harder. We don't know how much it is. All we know is one-time use. Once it passes by, whatever we do, we cannot get it back. No matter how much, how rich we are, no matter how knowledgeable we are, no matter how much connections we have, right? If you be the president of, the entire world, you can still, make 1 minute to come back, right? Doesn't matter even if you are a prophet or an imam, you still cannot make the time to come back for you. So one-time use, limited, capital, and an infinite result. So that will give you, the importance of what we have in hand and how should we be aware of how to use it. So we ask Allah Almighty to help us to get, to where we have to be, where we deserve to be, within the time that He has given us in this dunya. And then we say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم, which means the Sirat al-Mustaqim doesn't belong to everybody, right? It belongs to those people that Allah Almighty has actually bestowed His mercy upon them. So we have to be part of those special people to actually go and follow the Sirat al-Mustaqim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Right? And this Sirat al-Mustaqim that we talk about, we want Allah to guide us in a way that this path will not be the path of those who are ignorant and who are lost on the path, right? And none of those that Allah Almighty is actually angry at them, right? So no one be part of those groups. We want to get to our destinations safe and secure. This is one reason. Number two, it actually makes us concentrate on God with our body and soul. So the minute we stand facing the Qibla, right? As you all know, we have some wajibat dealing with doing salat. What is the first one? You have to face the Qibla as you're standing up, getting ready for the takbir or the Allahu Akbar at the nation, right? So as your body faces the Qibla, as your body faces the Kaaba, right? Is it only the body that is doing and performing the salat? You say no. That's just one part of it. So we say the minute you say Allahu Akbar, your body is facing the Kaaba, your mind should be clean and away from any sort of thoughts or images or memories or running different analysis on where did I put this, what should I do after namaz, right? Because a lot of people say in two places you remember everything the most. One of them being when the time to say Allahu Akbar, when you stand by, you do it to pray. The other one, everybody knows where the other one is. So the minute you say Allahu Akbar, facing the Qibla, the mind has to be free of everything else and only concentrate on the Allah Almighty. Is that it? Say no, here's the third level. It goes back to our hearts. What about our hearts? All these different feelings that we get, different emotions. Sometimes some people are maybe more emotional, so they might actually get some sort of revelation, but like a low context and volume as we speak. So all these emotions, all these different feelings, they all have to go aside as well. So when we say Allahu Akbar, it should include our entire body and our soul. And actually that's the pretty close meaning for Allahu Akbar itself. What does it mean? We say Allah is greater. What do we mean by that? Allah is greater. We say actually the full expression has been Allahu Akbar minan yusaf. Meaning Allah the Almighty that we talk about is greater than being described, being defined. What do we mean by this? Meaning that whatever we think that Allah is that, Allah is not that. To put it in simple words. Meaning how hard we try to put it in logical arguments that this is Allah the Almighty, that definition that we come up with, it's not actually the definition of Allah the Almighty. Why? Because we say Allah, it's above definition, right? He is the creator of the words and the definition of whatever He can think of. So what do we do? Have all these logical arguments between us. We say we have all these logical arguments just to prove that He exists. So that's as far as we can go, just to say Allah Almighty exists. But what is Allah is actually a wrong question, right? We cannot define Allah as in logical terms. Yes, we can talk about attributes and things of Allah, but to actually talk about the essence of Allah, we cannot use the logical arguments. So how should we go about it? We say you have to go with your heart. The heart is the part that has no limits. When heart has no limits, right, then it is able to actually grasp the concept, or I cannot say the concept, right, but Allah Almighty as an abstract being. So that's reason number 2. Number 3, it will make us clean to ourselves from physical impurity, najasa, and spiritual impurity. So likewise, as we say Allahu Akbar, say we have to face, the Qibla with our body, and our soul and spirit has to face God, right? But before we start this act, right, we have to do what? We have to do tahara. Everybody knows that, right? Before you do salat, you have to go perform wudu, you have to do tahara, and then you can do your salat, right? So this tahara is only for the physical, right? Again, it's for the look, for the surface. What about our soul? Should we do anything about our soul? Should we do anything about our heart? Should we do anything about all the thoughts that's going on through our minds? Because everybody's busy. Some people are busy with school, some people are busy with work, family, with kids, right? Some people are busy with games. We all are busy. Live in the US, you have to run and run every day. And it's like, no question about that. So what do we have to do before doing the prayer in order to receive the full benefits out of performing the prayers? Remember, if you do the prayer right, based on what Allah says, it will prevent you from conducting bad and evil behavior, right? So we say before you pray, you have to clean yourself. You have to purify yourself, both in physical aspect and in a spiritual aspect, right? And then actually, because you clean yourself and purify yourselves, it will make the salah a mean that will actually get you or actually prevent you from conducting evil acts. And last but not least, it is these daily prayers that we do, gradually over time, it will get us to a place that little by little, because we get in the habit of praying, it will get us to a place that little by little we will actually start enjoying the prayer more, and we will get away from the evil act. Because a lot of times when we talk about the topic of Muharram, a lot of people say, well, it's hard, for example, not to give up some specific sins. For example, I don't know, listening to music, right? Because I enjoy listening to music so much, it's very hard for me to give up this act. So what can I do? Or some others may say, I get angry really fast. What can I do to control that? Or, I'm not patient enough, right? Some might say it's very hard for me to give away something, right? Some might say it's very hard for me to stop lying. It just comes out of my mouth. I have no control over it. So we say, how can we use the prayer? How can we use salah to overcome all of this, inshallah, as we go further out? And actually, this is a question that has been raised. We say, why can we see all these people that they're all Muslims, like they're all brothers, they do their salat and they do a very good job as we look at them. But then when they go back to society, we see all this misbehavior from them. So this clearly shows that their salat is not preventing them from doing the bad or the evil behavior. How can we answer that? Again, I go back to the commentary on Al-Mizan from Al-Muharram through Sunday Salawat. So he actually gives us 4 reasons, and then he rejects all 4, and he tells us what actually means. This ayah, when Allah Almighty tells us, أَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ فَإِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ. He says, some have said that the word salat in this ayah means da'wah, means invitation. Meaning Allah Almighty is telling the Prophet to continue inviting people towards me, towards Allah the Almighty. And by inviting people towards me, little by little, they will get away from the evil act. Some people translate the ayah like this. And then Allah Ta'ala instantly right after this, writes that this reasoning is not right. Why? Because we are translating the word of salah to something other than its true meaning. So for this ayah, we cannot come up with this reasoning to change the meaning of the word without any reason. Then he says, some others have said that salat in this ayah is in indefinite form versus definite form. Meaning that Allah Almighty means salat, a kind of salat. Not every salat that we see, but a kind of salat will prevent you from conducting evil. Others have said that salat prevents you from evil only when you are performing the salat. Meaning from the time you say Allahu Akbar to the time that you say the salams at the end, only during this time, Allah has told us that the salat actually prevents us from doing anything else, right? It makes sense to some extent. And then he continues and says, others have said that this salat that Allah mentions in this ayah, it's actually like an external person, right? So it is like, for example, someone comes up to you and says, hey, if you do this is wrong, you should not do it, you should stay away from it, right? And then, so the choice is yours. You can either listen to him or you can say, no, I want to do my own thing. So it's sort of like an advice from outside of you. That's how they translate the word salat. Then Allah Ta'ala says, no, all these four are wrong. Why? Because we say salat by itself has something attached to it, which is the prevention of evil and, for example, misbehave or doing, for example, bad action and bad deeds, right? So this is what is attached to salat. So if you do the salat, this comes with it. It's not a cause and effect. It's not that if you do salat, then you will get prevention from evil. No. It is something that is attached to salat and will come with it if you do it. If something is attached to the salat, right, that means you gotta you have to obey the condition of the salat in order to receive the full package. Meaning, the attachment will come, right? It's there. But as long as there is no barrier which will actually block it from getting to us or from us receiving it. So this is how Allah Ta'ala mentions the word of salat. Says no. When Allah Almighty tells us, to maintain your prayer and the prayer will prevent you from evil and misbehave, it's actually true in every given circumstance and every given cases that you can imagine. Right? So we say one more salawat. Then he continues and he says, so if you actually analyze those people who do salat and then on the other side commit sins, right? If you analyze them further, you see if you go down the line, they'll reach a point that they either stop doing evil or they will actually stop doing their salats as well. And then he continues and he says, on the contrary, look at those who do not do salat, right? If you look at them, you see not only they do not worry about salat, by little, this will actually extend to all of the other acts and all of the other obligations within the religion as well. So little by little, they will stop fasting. Little by little, they will stop, for example, giving alms and doing their alms. Little by little, they will actually start doing the forbidden acts. They will start drinking. They will start lying. They will start backbiting, right? Because all starts from giving up this simple act of salat. So, what does Allah Almighty says? الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. Those who have faith and whose hearts find rest in the remembrance of Allah, behold, their hearts find rest in Allah's remembrance. So, what is Allah trying to tell us? Because when we talk about the topic of salat, a lot of people say, oh man, is it time to pray again, right? Oh, I have to do this again, I have to do it, right? We talk about obligation, we talk about duties, and we talk about this sense of trying to do the minimum that we can just to get it off of ourselves. But when we look at the Quran, when we look at the ayahs, when we put the ayahs together, we can come to this conclusion that salah is a lot more than what we may be thinking it is. What does Allah say? It says actually you can find your peace, your inner peace, that tranquility, that sukoon, that the stillness that everybody is looking for within the prayer. Meaning that not only the act of salah will prevent you from committing evil acts, like physical acts, but it will actually prevent your soul, prevent your spirit from even thinking of the evil acts. Now imagine, if your thoughts are all good, if your feelings are all good, and if your acts are all good, you have nothing to worry about. No worries mean equal to peace, right? So that's how we actually get from salat to get our inner peace. Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam has a hadith in this regard, which is narrated in the book of Coffee, volume 3, page 265. It says, "As-salatu qurbanu kulla taqiyyin." The prayer, the salat, it is the stage of closeness between every person, every man, and God. So it is a stage of being very close, I would say the maximum that you can see, right? As I said, I think a couple nights before, we have two aspects to this. We have, when we look from God to us, and then when we look from us, for example, to God. Close to us, regardless of who we are, right? It's our necks, right? Based on the ayat of the Quran. But what comes in the middle between us and him, that we feel like sort of distant from him, is the a'mal, is the deeds, that are the actions that we actually do every day. So Allah tells us whatever, misbehave, evil acts, mistakes that we make, every single one of them will become a barrier between us and Allah Almighty. There is another hadith from Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu wasalam of Abu Hamid al-Thumali, which a lot of people might recite it during the month of Ramadan. He said, وَأَنَّكَ لَا تَحْتَجِبُ أَنْ تَحْجُبَهُ الْأَعْمَالُ دُونَكَ. He actually explains why when we do salat, it doesn't click for us. We feel, as I said, so distant from our Lord. He says the only thing that comes between you and your Lord, between you and your Creator, between you and Allah the Almighty, the All-Merciful, the Arhamar Rahimeen, are all your long wishes and desires. Ala tahjubahul amal. Right? Amal is the plural form of wishes. Everything that we think of and everything that we've been planning and having sort of an image of it in our minds, all of those becomes a barrier between us and. Then he continues, and then we have another hadith says, Salatu mi'arajul mu'min. We all know this, that salat is the ascension of the faith, right? Meaning that when we say Allahu Akbar, our physical body is here, but our spirit should, be going and should be elevating up so high to the point that it actually reaches Allah Almighty. And it's very beautiful. It says, La yasa'uni ardi wa la samai, bal yasa'uni qalbu abdi. You see the earth, you see the skies, we always all of this, if you put them together, it's not capable of actually bearing and tolerating me, meaning Allah the Almighty. But the heart of the faithful, the heart of my servant has the capacity to actually conceive me and see me as I am. So again, they asked one of the scholars, when you feel lonely, what do you do? He says, whenever I feel lonely and I want to talk to my God, I do salat. Whenever I want Him to talk to me, I recite the Quran. Now, talking about salat and talking about this act of worship, we have to, sort of get in the habit of trying to enjoy the salat, right? As I said, when it comes to this topic, a lot of us will say, what? I just want to get it over with. It's 5 times a day. I do it 3 times, and alhamdulillah, if I keep it up, I'll be happy. No, we have to look at this a little bit different. We have to, we have to try to actually get in a way of enjoying this. Look at Amir al-Mu'mineen's prayer, right? He prays, and they take an arrow out of his foot, and he doesn't even notice it. Or he prays, and he actually faints out. That's the amount of joy and pleasure that actually he gets by just praying. And every single one of us is capable of doing the same thing. It just needs practice, right? The first year is always hard. That's understandable. But little by little, practice a little bit by little, will get you guys where you actually can enjoy and actually fall in love with doing the salat. Now, let's go back. You said under salawat? I'll give you one more narration. This is from Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. Person comes up and asks, أفضل ما يتقرب به العباد إلى ربهم وأحب ذلك إلى الله عز وجل ما هو. Someone comes up to the Imam and asks, what is that best deed, best act, right? The one simple act that we can do that will actually get us close to Allah, and Allah likes it, and we will, like it as well. فقال, Imam replies, ما أعلم شيئا بعد المعرفة. I do not know anything else after Ma'arifah. Ma'arifah is the first stage. Talk about on the first night. Right? أفضل من هذه الصلاة. So Imam says, after Ma'arifah, I don't know any other act except Salat. ألا ترى أن العبد الصالح عيسى بن مريم عليه السلام قال وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا. Haven't you seen that Allah Almighty has given the orders to Isa, Jesus Christ, right? The same order that He has given to you. وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا, meaning keep up, maintain the salah, and maintain like the zakat as long as you're alive. Yet again, another hadith, it says, أحب الأعمال إلى الله عز وجل الصلاة. Here tells us directly. If you want that, that one act, that one, top of the line act that you want to do in order to please your Lord, is to do your salah. وهي آخر وسائل الأنبياء عليه السلام. Meaning that this salah is the last of the will of all the prophets. All the prophets have come and gone. They have left us their will. Their will, they mention to do your salah. فما أحسن الرجل يغتسل أو يتوضأ فيسبغ الوضوء ثم يتنحى حيث لا يراه أنيس. Then one continues to say how beautiful it is when you see a person who gets up, does tahara, and then performs the wudu, and then sits facing the qibla, وهو راكع أو ساجد, and then he starts praying. Either he's standing up, he's bowing, or he's doing sujood, right? Different stages of salah. إن العبد إذا سجد فأطال السجود نادى إبليس يا ويلاه أطاع وعصيته وسجد وأبيته. Imam says, when you look at a person who's doing their prayer, who's doing their bowing, who's doing their sujood, right? When they go to sujood, and then when they lengthen their sujood, you hear Iblis, you hear Shaitan, you hear the Satan screaming, shouting out, Ya Wailah, like, oh my gosh, right? Doesn't believe in God, but that's what he says. This servant has obeyed God and has disobeyed me. So imagine, 5 times a day you do prayers. How many sujood do you do? Right? Every time you put your head on the Torah, the Satan is actually screaming from your act. So this is our